and how the brain works, we are talking about things like remembering information, learning new skills, paying attention, processing all of the information that you encounter throughout your day, problem solving, and decision making. Now, there are several types of cognitive processes. So, the first one we're going to talk about is attention. Attention allows you to focus on the information you need while also filtering out irrelevant information and distractions. So, your attention, you are looking at something, you are filtering out, you're focusing on the information that you need, but you're filtering out distractions and irrelevant information. That's how you keep your attention focused. And before the internet, we used to be able to keep people's attention for about 30 seconds. And now that attention span has gone to between 8 and 15 seconds because of short form video formatting. So if you find yourself not being able to pay attention because of short format commercials and streaming and all of that, that is a direct result of everything is processed faster, it's smaller sound bites, so you can't focus on the information that's actually being given to you. And that's why I say you need to read 15 minutes or more of nonfiction a day so that you can start focusing for longer periods of times. The next one is language. So, language and language development are cognitive processes that involve the ability to understand and express thoughts. So, language and language development are cognitive processes that involve the ability to understand and express thoughts. And these thoughts are taken in through spoken words and written words. Good morning. Got it. Uh, Through spoken words and written words. So when you are thinking about it, so cognitive process, you have attention, and then you have language. The next one is language continued. Okay, because I ran out of paper on the first page. This allows you to communicate with others, including conveying your own thoughts and learning about others. And it also plays an important role in thought. So basically, everything that you see, hear, and write has to do with language, and that's all part of your cognitive processes or your cognitive skills. Next on the list is learning. It requires cognitive processes involved in taking in new things, synthesizing the info, and integrating it with prior knowledge. So we talk about your working memory and how you're gathering information. By 35, your working memory starts to deteriorate. By the time you're 65, that bad boy is just atrophied unless you learn and process new information. So you take the information that you have and you continue to add to that information so that you can continue to have cognition or the ability to think so that you can use your brain as it was designed to be used. The next one is memory. So, memory allows you to encode, store, and retrieve information. Memory allows you to encode, store, and retrieve information. It's also a critical component in the learning process, and it allows you to retain knowledge about the world and your own personal history. So you can say, I remember when I was in the fifth grade, boy, I look good in that suit. I remember the time I was dating Earl. Oh, biggest mistake of my life. Never do that again, ever, ever, ever. So it allows you to take in information about the world. I remember the Gulf War because I was in basic training when it popped off, as well as in Army Reserves in my senior year of high school. So that's taking in something that was happening in the world at that time. The next one is perception. So, a cognitive process that allows you to take in information through your senses, and then you utilize that information to respond and interact with the world. Your perception is your reality. You are taking in information, and now you are taking action and doing things based upon what you took in. And that's why biases are so important, because if you have a confirmation bias, a gender bias, a conformity bias, you're going to take in that information, filter it through your bias, and then say, see, I told y'all, all men ain't shit. Women ain't loyal. You're going to have all of these biases. So your perception is your reality. However, when you start to hold yourself personally accountable, you wire the neural pathways of your brain to the 74 principles of real leadership, and you start to embrace diversity. You start to be a forward thinker, grow continually, and your perception of the world and yourself begins to change, and it becomes more realistic. It actually becomes who you actually are because you're using the frontal lobe, and this is where your personality actually resides, and not the personality that somebody may be telling you that you need to